Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Moy Style podcast. Today I have Megan with Meg Rem softball, and today's topic is going to be about what it's like to play at the college level. I know a lot of girls out there have a lot of questions about this. They have aspirations, and I figured I would bring somebody on like Megan. She's had a lot of experience at the Division 1 level. She's played all 4 years, and I feel like she can definitely help us out with this. She's also she puts in a lot of great information on social media for a lot of softball players, but I know a lot of baseball players can benefit from it too. So, Megan, how about we get started with you introducing yourself, and then we'll jump in with the question.
Sure. So again, my name is Megan. I grew up in Akron, Ohio. I was there for about 15 years. Started playing softball I started when I was like 5, so t-ball. Played up until I had to move, but not up until, but I moved to North Carolina when I was 15. Played travel ball in North Carolina, and then ended up going to Appalachian State, where I played 4 years, 3 years as a shortstop, and then 1 year as a second baseman, and lived in North Carolina for a while, and actually just moved to Florida this past April. So now I'm in West Palm Beach, Florida.
Awesome. Okay. Well, so let me ask you this. So what age did you start getting pretty serious about playing college softball?
I would say high school. So I was always, playing all types of different sports. I did gymnastics for 8 years when I was younger, volleyball, basketball. I played soccer 1 year. I loved playing all the sports. So I would say probably around my sophomore year in high school, I was like, okay, I'm thinking softball's my sport. I honestly was going back and forth between volleyball and softball. But once I got sophomore year in high school, I started to really, I got on a good travel ball team, and I started to really think like, okay, softball's a sport I need to really focus on. And I want to take it serious, and I want to, get on it, find this good travel team. And we ended up, traveling all over. Actually, I say all over. We didn't travel very far. We just went to very good tournaments.
Right.
But yeah, sophomore year in high school.
So what do you normally? I know you said that you started taking it more serious in sophomore, but so what do you recommend for the younger ladies out there that play multiple sports? So like, do you think they can still play multiple sports and try to play at a Division 1 level if that's their dream? When they're a junior and senior, or do you recommend cutting back, a sport or two?
In my personal opinion, I think it depends on the athlete's work ethic. So I played all three sports in high school. I played volleyball, basketball, softball. I knew softball was a sport I wanted to play in college, so I knew I had to put in extra work. I do think it just depends on the kid. When I do my clinics, I tell these kids all the time, it's like, you're going to be tired. You're going to have volleyball practice or basketball practice. You're going to have homework. You're going to have social events, but it's one of those, how bad do you want it? So, for me, I'd come home from basketball, and I wouldn't, not every day. Realistically, I'd say when I was playing my other sports in high school, I would work on my own maybe 2 nights a week, because again, realistically, I didn't have the time. But when I was putting in the work, I was making sure it was quality rep. So if the girl, if it's one of those, like if she knows or he knows, okay, softball, baseball is my sport, you just know you're not going to have a lot of free time, and you got to
Right.
sacrifice some other things.
Right. No, definitely. And I asked that because I know a lot of girls play multiple sports, but I feel like at some point, I mean, it could be pretty challenging trying to play multiple sports and try to play at a higher level. So,
Right.
um, now, when did you actually start getting offers from colleges? What year?
Um, Not until my senior year. I got a couple offers that were really good offers, and I went to visit, and great coaches. It's one of those, you walk into a campus and you just want to get that, like, wow, I really want to be here. And I liked it, but I didn't love it. So I kind of held off, and then I didn't sign my letter of intent, my letter of intent to app until November of my senior year. And I think I got my offer in like October. So I'm very big on, don't, yes, if you want to play softball, great, but don't force yourself to go somewhere. It'll definitely, it's one of those, like, you walk on campus, you meet the coaches, you meet the girls, and you're going to feel like, okay, this is it.
That's what I was gonna ask you. Like, how do you know that's the right fit? Because I know there's some girls that got a few offers and they're trying to figure out, should I go towards
Right.
academics? Should I go because of the school or because of the coaches? Like,
Yeah.
what do you recommend?
Um, yeah, and every girl's different. It's just one of those, find what's really important to you. So for me, I didn't want to go to a huge school, but I wanted to go to a school where it wasn't 500 kids, you know? So my other thing was I wanted to have really good sports atmosphere, meaning like I wanted to go to football games. I wanted to go to basketball games, and I wanted to be like a good atmosphere. And obviously, well, not obviously, but at the time, football was really, really good. So, got to go to a football game, which was exciting. But it's also too, like, going on your official visit, which I would say, if you have the opportunity, go on all the official visits that you get invited to, because you just never know. You get to stay with the girls. They'll
Right.
kind of take you out, show you around. But once I met the coaches and kind of, had lunch and breakfast with them, and then stayed with one of my teammates afterwards, I left and I told my dad, I'm like, this is it. Like, it just feels right.
Right. Right. That's a great point. Yeah, because you definitely don't want to be forced into going to a
Yeah.
college that you don't, it's just because you want to play college ball.
Yeah.
Now, what do you think was the biggest difference? Like, so when you went from high school to playing in college, because I know at Division I level, it's definitely great competition. So, what was the biggest difference?
I think I was always good with time management, but I think you really, really hone in on that, because you have, workouts at 6 a.m., 7 a.m. You have all your classes, then you have to go to a 3 to 4 hour practice, and then you have homework, which, yes, you do that in high school, but it's just different. You're on your own. You don't have your parents waking you up or driving you around or making you meals. Like, you have to prioritize certain things. And then obviously, in college, you got friends going out, going to football games, but do you need to get a project done because you're traveling on a bus for 8 hours for the weekend? You won't have time. So it really, I struggled, and I don't want to say struggled, but it was a huge adjustment trying
Right.
to figure out and prioritize what I need to do, because you really don't have any spare time, truly.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. I know the feeling, because in baseball, it's kind of the same way. You have to really manage your time, otherwise it gets out of control pretty quick.
Right.
Now, so when you got there in the fall, because so you get there in the fall. What was the schedule like, if you remember? Like, did you guys work out before school and then go to school and then come back again and go to practice?
Yeah, so we did not come early. We did, gosh, I honestly, it was like 10 years ago, or I guess when I graduated. I know we did individuals in the fall, and then we did team practices, because obviously you're only allotted so much time in the fall. Like, you have certain hours, but we did individuals. We would break for holidays. And then once we came back, it was like guns a-blazing. We're going team practices. But yeah, fall was a little bit more chill. We had some scrimmages, but still obviously got the practice in.
Right. Well, and I ask because I know some schools, they'll work out before school, and then they go to school, and then they have to come back. So I know that could be a big adjustment for a lot of girls out there.
Yeah, I think I do. I know there's some girls I was giving lessons to. They went to bigger schools and they went in the summer. And I don't know if it was like just individual workouts. I saw them in the weight room. So yeah, I know some schools do that, which is kind of cool, because you get to meet girls beforehand.
Right. Right. What about the so when it comes to, like, power, speed, and obviously competition overall, like, how much different was it from high school?
Um, well, like my high school team, we were not good. I actually had to pitch. I was not a pitcher. So that was a disaster. Travel ball, honestly, it wasn't a huge difference from what I remember. I have always just been so competitive that even in a travel ball, my mindset was like, I just want to be the best. I want to be the best shortstop in this game or in this tournament. And it carried over into college. Like, my goal was, I want to win a spot. Like, I want to be the best shortstop or second baseman out here. But I also want to be the best in college. So I don't remember being like, whoa, this is a huge difference. But I just remember being like, okay, game on. Like, cause I gotta prove myself and win a spot. But two, like now you got everyone's good. Not just like,
Right.
oh, well, you're not playing teams that's like, nah, no, everybody's good.
Yeah, that's why I asked, because at that level, I mean, everybody's gonna be it's gonna be pretty good. So
Yeah.
I know in high school you have some girls that just play, just to play, and then you got the ones that are pretty competitive, and so
Yeah.
depending on the size of the school. But what about, like, I'm just kind of curious, like pitching wise, like when you were facing pitchers, were they faster or just the stuff was better?
Lot more movement. We there and just for an example, like I don't remember, specifically other player or other pitchers, but there was a girl on our team, and in practice we always had to face her. She was not fast, but she had the like nastiest drop ball, and it was just one of those that comes in and drops. But she and then did have a lot of speed, but she was so dominant. And
Right.
even when I was playing shortstop, like I knew when that pitch was called, I'm shading up the middle because 9 times out of 10, girls are hitting that drop ball right back up the middle. So the biggest difference was we're not just, and I feel like in travel, there was a lot of girls who were just trying to throw it as fast as they can. And sure, it works. College, way more movement.
Right. Right. No, yeah, because you can only get away so much with only fastballs. So
Yeah, especially and you got to be, if you're only throwing speed, then you need to make sure you're hitting your spots.
right. Right. Now I know you said a few from, at least from what I hear, what you're saying is that you like, shortstop better. Is that your
Yeah.
favorite position?
Yeah, I didn't hate second. I just that angle. I don't know, and maybe I wasn't used to it. 'Cause even all travel, I played a tiny bit of third, so I was always left side of the field, mainly
Right.
shortstop though. Even when I was 10 years old. So I don't know if it was just new to me, and that angle it just feels different. It's a shorter throw, but definitely shortstop all day.
Yeah, it feels like backwards.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't love it.
Yeah. So now let me ask you this. I'm asking this for a reason, because I know um, at the youth level, some teams, they just want to put their girls where, one position. So what do you recommend? Do you recommend the younger girls playing multiple positions, or just playing one or two and just kind of stick with it? Like, what do you
Yeah,
recommend?
100% recommend playing multiple positions. Now, obviously, when you get older, you're going to start to real or figure out, okay, you're more of an infielder, you're more of an outfielder. But I always use the example of when I was giving lessons in North Carolina, the girl who owned the facility, Kelsey Bruder, she played at Florida. Well, her whole life, she was a third baseman. I'm pretty sure third baseman, infielder. She went to Florida, never saw the dirt. She was only outfield. And it's just one of those, like, you just never know where coach needs you, especially if you're really athletic. You could be put anywhere, which is great. You're, utility. So I am very, very big on when they're younger, move them around, and obviously you're not going to put someone who doesn't pitch at pitcher, but like, play infield and outfield, not just only shortstop.
Right, because I think you said it pretty well, that the pitch you were talking about, you have to move one way or the other. Because
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of kids, sometimes they end up playing one position, that they feel like they're married to that position, and so like when they
Right.
move them around in college, because when you got to college, obviously you wanted to play shortstop, right? But you said you ended up playing second base.
I played short my first 2 years, played
Right, right,
second base junior, and then back to shortstop my senior year. But it was one of those, like, my goal was to play infield, but I had no idea. And it's one of those things too, like when I go to I do my clinics, I travel all around the country, and more times than not, I get a lot of girls when we're doing infield drills that just go 50%. And I get on them. I'm like, just because you're an outfielder doesn't mean you're going to be an outfielder next year. So if your high school coach comes up to you and say, "Hey, we're short. I need you to go to outfield," you're just going to say no. No, you're going to be like, "Yeah, I'm
right.
prepared. I'm ready to go. Let's do it."
Yeah, yeah. I'm the same way. I coach the younger ones, and I try my best to move them around, because I want them to learn different angles. I want them to be able to read
Right.
the ball off the bat, in the outfield, and the infield. It's on the corner, especially in softball, is so much closer.
Oh, and
It's almost
yeah.
scary
And
looking, but
I did not love third, I'll be honest. And I even tell when I was coaching a 14U team, I'm telling my girls, like, like 3 more steps in. And in my head, I'm like, I would probably wouldn't want to do that either because the ball is coming off the bat and you're like this far away.
Right, right. Yeah, that's funny because I watch some of the softball games. And I don't understand why they play so close. I'm like, they're gonna get killed,
Right.
but obviously they're used to it. So
Yeah.
now going back to wanting to earn a position. So obviously you have your practices, but did you put in extra work? And not only just defensively, but offensively too. Did you have to put in extra work to make sure you earn your spot?
Yes, absolutely. High school, I would say, maybe, gosh, because again, I did play three sports 2 times a week. Um, College, I was very adamant. Like even before, like I remember going in my freshman year, before we even had any type of individuals or team practice, I was going in, or even in between, we had a doubleheader on Saturdays, and if I was struggling so hard, bad on the first game, I'd go in between games with my hitting coach, in between, just to take some reps, kind of work some things out. But you definitely, if you want to be good, you got to put the work in. And I tell my girls at my clinics, I'm like, it amazes me how every single person wants to be good, but you've got about 50% who actually want to put the work in. So
Right.
it's just, if you want to be average, that's on you. But if you want to be good, you got to put the work in.
Yeah. So let me ask you this now that you're talking about camps and clinics. So when girls go to camps or clinics, so what if they go to a camp? Like, what should they focus on? Like, should they try to learn everything, or just pick a thing here and there and kind of roll with it? So what do you recommend when they go to camps?
Yeah, I mean, take everything in, go 100%. And now, are you talking about my clinics or like college or like
Yeah.
showcases college?
No, your clinics.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, it's because I'm very, and I even say before every clinic, I'm very big on the fundamentals. What I notice when I'm traveling all around the country is fundamentals aren't really focused on, and everyone just wants to go out, take cuts, take ground balls, throw on the run. There's no focusing on footwork, glove work, which makes your lives a lot easier. So I'm very big on the fundamentals, and I even preach that to the girls. I'm like, listen, I know it's boring. I've been there. You're
Right.
doing this, basic drills that you're like, oh my gosh, can we get to the fun stuff? But it's like, if you can't do the basic stuff, you're not going to be good at the fun stuff. So, yeah, I'm all about like, be a sponge. You probably won't remember everything. That's okay. But take what you can.
Right. I always tell, when I do camps, I tell the kids that, try to pick, two or three things and kind of roll with it. Don't just,
Hmm.
because it's kind of hard to memorize everything, but at least if you
Right.
pick a couple of things, I mean, it's just a whole nother, it takes it a whole nother level.
Yeah.
Now, so when you were playing in college, what do you think was the most fun about playing in college?
My teammates, just like those are the memories, or the memories I look back on, and I'm still very, very good friends with a lot of my teammates. Going to their weddings, they come to my wedding, or they came to my wedding a couple weeks ago, and still just very, very close to them. You remember the bus rides, what you were doing in between games. But that was the absolute best part, hands down.
And that's what I was going to ask you. So how important it is to build up relationships with your coaches and players in school.
Huge. And it's, because obviously softball is a team sport, and you have to mesh well. And for example, I was shortstop. I needed to always be in constant communication with my second baseman, my outfielder, or I'm sorry, my third baseman and my left fielder. So and it's tough. Obviously not everyone's going to get along, but you got to do your best when you're on the field. Forget all that nonsense, and then do it, and doing a lot of team building activities on outside, or just hanging out. On Sunday, I think our off day was Monday, so we always
Right.
got together on Sunday as a team and just did a bunch of random stuff. It was always really fun.
Right. Right. And the I know you're saying it's pretty important to get along, but what about in game situations? Like, do you have to relate the signs to the outfielders and the third baseman if you're playing short,
Yeah.
or you
So
only go ahead?
Yeah, sorry. No, third baseman. They got their own sign. I relayed it to my center fielder and left fielder just so they knew where to shift. Like, because I was telling you in the beginning, the girl who had a really, really good drop ball, I knew I needed to shade up the middle.
Right.
That's usually where that ball was going, and then my left fielder would shade just a little bit as well. So yeah, I was always relaying that message.
Yeah, and I think that goes back to obviously playing multiple positions because you want to be able to kind of read different angles and like shortstop, especially if you play shortstop, I think it's it's pretty important to control the infield and obviously help out the outfielders too because they can't
Right.
really. I don't think they can see the signs that far away.
Right.
But
Yeah, and like I know there's girls that will only play second base, but when a coach needs to go to shortstop, yes, it's the same fundamentals sort of, but it's a completely different game. Shortstop, you have a lot more different responsibilities than a second baseman. So
right.
knowing how to play each position is huge, which obviously we talked about.
Yeah, no, definitely, definitely. So what about like if you got younger girls that that have aspirations to play at the next level, what do you think they should focus on? I know you talked about fundamentals, but what do you think they should focus on?
Um, Getting with so younger girls, finding a coach who will develop you. I'm seeing a lot of coaches who only care about winning, which don't get me wrong, winning is very important, but you need to develop. It does you no good if you're winning games, but you don't know, like, for example, I'm going to all these clinics and girls don't know basic footwork.
Right.
You're winning a game, okay, but like, it only takes you so far. So finding a coach who will develop you, who also will teach you, be a good kid, you listen, you hustle, good discipline, but also teaching you how to play the game. It sounds silly, but like you need to learn how to play the game.
Right, right. No, that's pretty important because I mean, you can only get away get so far with just trying to hit it
Right.
out of the park every time.
Yeah,
You got to be able to learn how to play the game. Be a
and
softball player first.
and it amazes me. I'll get 15-year-olds who don't know situations,
There
and
you go.
it's like, what are we doing, guys? And I say guys and coaches, like, what are we got to teach the game, not just go out, hit fungo and take BP.
That's a great point. I'm glad you said that because I'm pretty big on that, and I coach a couple of teams, 11U and 10U in baseball, and obviously you have to work on techniques and all that good stuff, but at the same time you got to be a baseball player, and softball the same way. You got to be a softball player. I feel like every time the coaches ask me for, practice plans, all they want to know is it's drills, which that's great, but you gotta
Right.
teach them where to be on every play, how to move,
Yeah.
how to cheat a little bit the right way, obviously learning how to move one way or the other like we were talking
Yeah.
about
And
before.
and it's sad. I see so many very, very talented girls that don't know the game or don't know situations, and you can't put them out there because especially if you're playing like shortstop or second baseman, or even catcher. I don't know, any position. You've got to know where to throw it. If you don't know where to throw it, it does your skills do good. So I always preach to these coaches who ask for my opinion. You need to spend at least 30 to 45 minutes on situations every practice. 30 minutes. It depends on how long you practice, but at least 30 minutes.
Well, it takes time because some of the kids they get overwhelmed. You may tell
Yeah.
them the same thing 3 times and they still don't get it, so that
Yeah.
takes a lot of time. So
Yeah.
that's I don't think coaches understand that I feel like sometimes coaches will spend time line everybody up in one line and sit on ground balls and then hitting fly balls. That's
Right.
about it, and then just try to hit a couple balls off BP.
And yeah,
Go ahead.
and I was gonna say, and that's honestly why I started my YouTube channel. It was, I when I was doing lessons, it was just I got a lot of feedback of what should I be doing, what drills should I be doing, or what can I do different? And because at least in softball, baseball is different. Softball, you have a lot of dads who are volunteering their time because no one else is, and so
Right.
more times than not, they've never played the game or even baseball. So they're like, I'll volunteer, but I have no idea what I'm doing. So I
Right.
started all of it just to give them drill ideas. I'm trying to do more like situations. It's just tough because obviously it's just me and it's hard to show situations. But that was why I started it all, is just to help out coaches and parents who are like, I have no idea what I'm doing. And I would be the same way if my future kid wants to play like lacrosse. I have no idea. I'd
Right.
have to turn to YouTube.
Right, right. No, and I mean, there's a lot of free information out there, but when it comes to situational stuff, it's pretty tough, like you said, because
Right.
you have to have somebody follow you with the camera and have a couple of kids out there doing it so you
Yeah.
can actually show it.
I need to recruit some of my girls from lessons. I'm like, I'll give you a free lesson if you help me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a pretty good idea. Now, what was the most challenging thing about playing in college? I know you kind of mentioned this a little bit, but
um, I would say for me, it was, gosh, I don't know how to word this. Overcoming adversity with, oh, I don't know how to word it. Not,
cussing the world out.
yeah, I had my junior year, I struggled hard with, that's the year I went to second base. I moved down to number 9 in the lineup. And I just straight up, I didn't get along with my coach. It is what it is. It took me a while to get out of that mindset because obviously softball is very mental. And I struggled hard. And it took me half a season. Once I got out of it and I started to think in my head, like, this is what you've worked for your whole life. Don't let something ruin that. So it took a lot of self positive talk to get where I needed to be. And then finally my senior year, I just kind of was like, it is what it is. And I ended up going back to short and ended up, getting all conference, which that's probably one of my proudest moments. Because I overcame that adversity and really was like, I'm doing this for me and my teammates, and that's it.
And that's what I was going to ask you. Like, how did you overcome that? Because one thing is thinking
Ooh.
something real quick, but another thing is actually trusting
Right.
it and sticking with it. So, like, how did you overcome
Man.
that?
And I'll be honest, I had a lot of tears. I cried a lot. I had a really good support system. My sweet mother, I think I called her every day, just, venting. And my teammates, they're amazing. They were kind of going through the same thing too. So we were there for each other, but it goes back to my like competitive spirit. I'm like, I'm not going to let something ruin what I've been working so hard for. So again, a lot of positive talk. Like, I am good. I am really, really good. And I'm going to prove it. And I'm going to prove myself. Nothing's handed to me. But I will say a lot of venting to my mom and my dad.
Right, right. No, and I asked this because it doesn't only happen at the college level; it happens at the younger levels, and I feel like a lot of girls quit because of that because they don't know how
Yeah.
to deal with it. And obviously part of it too is because some parents they want to put way too much pressure on these kids because I think they want it more than the kids, and so
Right.
I feel like
Yeah.
go ahead.
And it is, and that is, it's you're seeing it a lot, so much pressure. But also, and going off that is kids aren't getting a break anymore, which is so mind-blowing to me. Teams are like, for example, in Florida, they're practicing all year round, which I get it. Weather is nice, but you've got to take a break. You've got to let these kids be kids. Let them go swim in the summer, go to birthday parties on the weekend. It's the world is not going to end if they are not practicing all year round. If they want to practice on their own, absolutely. You let them go hit in the backyard, but to
Right.
have mandatory 2 to 3 day or week practices, literally January to January, is insane to me.
Right. Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, sometimes I think that's where they burn out and they just when they're 13, 14, that's when I see it decline and they don't want to play anymore. At least in baseball, that's how it works. I mean, I don't know how it is in softball, but I feel like that's
Yeah,
about the age.
it is, and it's sad because the girls like, the parents. Oh well, little Susie loves softball. Like, okay, great. You still need to give her a break. Just like we have jobs we can't do it 24/7. We'll go
Right.
crazy. You need a break. So that goes
Right.
with kids too. I mean, they're 10, 11, 12, 13 years old.
Right. Right. No, that's a good point. What about? So I know you mentioned I think you said, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you had a hard time with your coach. It was a junior year.
Junior
Um,
year, yeah.
so what I really want to ask is, how were you able to talk to your coach, or just felt like you couldn't talk to your coach at all?
I did, but it didn't get anywhere, which again, it is what it is. Thankfully, so my dad was D1 baseball coach for 25 years. I was able to bounce a lot of things off of him.
Hmm.
Um, because obviously he's been there, done that. So yeah, that was where like the mental part came in, because you hear a lot of coach or parents, whatever, say, "Well, talk to the coach," and you're like, "I did," and that didn't really give me any answers. So, and it wasn't about playing time. It was a bunch of other things that just didn't make sense to me, but I never got any clarity. So that's where, being able to bounce ideas or thoughts off my dad, and he, give me some positive answers back, always helped.
Right. Yeah, because what I do with the younger ones, and I don't know specifically your situation with your coach, but what I try to do with the younger ones, I teach them to learn how to talk to coaches, which is
right.
But some coaches, they're not, they just, like you're saying, like just, they don't help you out. But I feel like if you teach them at a younger level to learn how to talk to coaches, like you said, not complaining about, not playing a position, just ask and learn how to ask, how to earn whatever position you're trying to play, not just complain.
And when I coached the 14U team, I was very adamant about, and I got this from my basketball coach in high school. Like, I'm not talking to parents. I refuse to talk to parents about playing time. Like, obviously I'll talk to them about tournaments, whatever, but playing time, absolutely not. If your kid wants to talk to me, by all means, we'll chat it out. But we need to teach these young adults how to be, grow up in the real world. Even if it's not softball, they need to know how to talk to their boss when, they have a job.
Mm-hmm. No, that's a great point. Yeah, because it's not always going to be sports. I mean, some will continue to do sports, but some just, go out in the real world and you have to work for a company. So that's a pretty good point. Okay. Now, by the way, I appreciate you so far for all this great information. Sure. I know a lot of girls out there would definitely benefit from this. So now let's wrap it up with 4 funny questions that I've been asking everybody. Okay. So just make sure whatever I ask you, don't be saying names unless you want to. I don't want to get you in trouble. But okay. So from all the years that you've played, high school or college, what was the team that you enjoy the most, and why?
It would be my sophomore year in college, because everyone on that team, we just meshed really, really well. Our coaches were great. It was fun. That's the only thing, honestly, the only word I can use. It was just really fun. And that's the time that I felt the most relaxed.
Well, I'm not trying to get off subject here, but why was it fun? I'm kind of curious.
Coaches, to get down to it, coaches just let us play. And what I mean by that, there was no mind games. There was no this is what the practice was. This is how we're going to play. And then you go out and do it. And it was just, I felt loose. And I don't know if that makes any sense, but it's just like, that was one year I can really remember being like, I love softball and this is what it's all about. My friend, my teammates were my best friends. It was just so fun.
All right. That's cool. What about your, I guess the best teammate you've ever had against them? You don't have to say names. And why?
Gosh, that's hard. I loved all my teammates. Gosh, that's really hard. I would say, and I could say it. So my roommate, Michelle, her name was Michelle Layton. Now she's married, Michelle Hernandez, but she was my roommate all 4 years. And it's just one of those, obviously we did everything together and we were able to go to practice, come home, vent, talk about things. I was her maid of honor in her wedding. But I would say Michelle, but gosh, I have a lot of others too. So
yeah, I'm not putting you in a spot. What about your least favorite teammate?
Oh man. Well, if I can't say names.
Yeah, I don't know that.
That'd be hard. That's hard to answer.
Yeah. But why were they your least favorite teammate? That's what I'm trying to get.
They would tattle on us. And get us in trouble, which obviously no one would like that. So yeah, just telling on us all the time for no reason.
Okay. Now the last one is what's your favorite coach and why?
So I will say this isn't softball. My basketball coach in high school, he was my coach for 3 years. I moved when I was a sophomore, and we won 3 state championships. But besides that, he was just, gosh, he pushed us to be our best. he wasn't a yeller, which and I'm fine with when if coaches yell if they need to, but he just demanded respect, and it was one of those you didn't want to upset him. Like if he was yelling at you, you're like, oh my gosh, like what can I do to prove myself? What can I do to make him not mad at me? He really instilled time management, and obviously it worked. We were state champions, but yeah, my best coach was my basketball coach.
Right, that's awesome. That's pretty cool.
Yep.
Well, Megan, I appreciate you for your time today. Again, it was great information, and I will put all your this will come out also on YouTube. I will put all your links below so people can go subscribe to your channel, to your follow you on your social media, Facebook, Instagram. And again, I appreciate you. And if you guys are watching this on YouTube and would like to subscribe, give it a thumbs up, and remember, keep it Moy Style.
Hey guys, Moy Style Baseball here. If you're interested in having me come out to your city for a fielding camp or a hitting camp, or if you're in the Oklahoma area and you're looking for private lessons or group lessons, you can shoot me a text at 251-509-3815. You can also email me at moystyle33@gmail.com. Keep it Moy Style.